Don't buy a house in Spain until you've watched this video. I know that might sound a little dramatic, but every year people make costly mistakes because they don't understand how the Spanish property market works. They either trust listings that aren't available or that are just misleading. They underestimate taxes and closing costs. They wait too long to get financing, or they work with the wrong professionals. The good news, all of these mistakes are completely avoidable, and I am going to show you how. Hi, I'm Danielle from Expat Livin, and I made the move to Spain with my family about 5 years ago and have had the opportunity to navigate the real estate process in Spain. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 5 essential things that you need to know before you buy property in Spain. So let's dive in. All right, if you're thinking about buying a home in Spain, whether it's a vacation property, retirement home, investment property, or maybe it's your family's new home abroad, there are a few things that you should know before you start scrolling through listings and booking flights. Okay, my family and we moved to Spain several years ago, and through our own experience, as well as helping other expats navigate the relocation process, I've learned that buying property here can be very different from what many Americans, Canadians, or Brits are used to. So in today's video, I'm going to share 5 important things that you should know before buying a house in Spain that can save you some time, money, and a lot of frustration. And hey, if you're considering a move to Spain or any other country, be sure to check us out at expatlivin.com. Our Expat Livin Move Abroad Mentorship course walks you through the entire relocation process, from visas to housing to healthcare, schools, banking, taxes, and more. And please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. It's free to you, and it helps me to keep making great content just for you. All right, so let's jump in. Tip number 1 is don't rely solely on property portals. All right, one of the first things that most people do when they start looking for property in Spain is to jump onto these websites like Idealista, Fotocasa, Quiero, or other property portals. And honestly, that's not a bad place to start. These sites can help you get familiar with different neighborhoods, property styles, and general pricing in certain areas. The problem is that not everything you see online is accurate or even up to date. Sometimes properties have already sold, sometimes listings are duplicated by multiple agents, and sometimes the photos don't accurately represent the property that you're looking to see. And occasionally you'll find properties advertised at prices that don't reflect reality. This isn't necessarily the fault of the portal itself. The portals rely on the information that's being provided by agents and sellers, but the standards set for agents are not the same. And sometimes they misrepresent either the size of the place or the location, and sometimes the value. So use these websites as a research tool, but don't assume everything you see is currently available and or accurate. All right, so once you've narrowed down your search, you'll want someone local who can tell you, what's actually on the market today. And that's going to lead me to my next topic. And that's tip number 2, is to find a trusted local agent. All right, so this brings me to the second point. Find a trusted real estate agent in the area. And ideally find one agent you trust rather than contacting 10 different agents. Many areas in Spain operate with shared listing systems where agents can access each other's inventory. So that means a good agent can often show you a wide variety of properties, not just their own listings. It is typical when working with an agent to help you find a place to hire an agent as a personal shopper. In this case, you pay a fee for the help of the agent to make the appointments, show you places, and negotiate the terms on your behalf. In this scenario, you know that you have someone who has your best interests in mind, and the cost is well worth it to avoid mistakes down the road. Okay, the biggest advantage of working with one knowledgeable professional is that you only have to explain your goals one time. Okay, your budget, your preferred locations, whether you're looking in a city apartment or beach property or a countryside villa. A good agent is going to become your advocate and help you narrow down the options instead of overwhelming you with hundreds of listings. All right, the key word here is trust. So find someone who understands your needs and communicates clearly. Tip number 3 is make sure your agent knows the area. All right, not all Spanish property markets are the same. Madrid is different from Barcelona. Barcelona is different from Valencia. Valencia is different from Malaga. Okay, these are all very unique areas. Even within these cities, neighborhoods can vary dramatically. So one thing I always tell people is that the local expertise is going to matter. You don't just want to find an agent who sells real estate. You want someone who knows the specific area you're considering. They should be able to tell you which neighborhoods are family friendly, which neighborhoods have the best schools, what property transportation is like, what public transportation is like, what future development is planned, which areas are popular with expats, and what rental demands look like if you are interested in investing. Remember, you're not just buying a property, you're buying a community and a lifestyle. Tip number 4 is get mortgage pre-approval early. All right, so if you're planning to finance your purchase, this step is huge. Before you fall in love with a property, find out how much you can actually borrow. Spain has mortgage options available for many foreign buyers, but the amount that you can borrow is going to depend on factors such as your income, your assets, your residency status, your country of residence, and your credit profile. So also, being a foreigner, you need to know that your borrowing power may not be as strong here in Spain as it is in your home country. So in most cases, foreigners are going to be required to put a greater deposit down. For example, when I purchased my home, I had to put 30% down as opposed to the ordinary 20% in the area. I've seen people find their dream property only to discover later that they couldn't obtain the financing that they were expecting. And in a competitive market, waiting until you've found the perfect home can mean losing it to another buyer. So in some cases, there may be really strict procedures on how much you must deposit when you have to put down your deposit. So timing is going to be important. In some cases, you may need to complete all the approvals and inspections up front before you even put in an offer. All right, so getting pre-approved early is going to give you a realistic budget and allow you to make offers with confidence. It also shows sellers that you are a serious buyer. Tip number 5, budget for more than just the purchase price. Okay, this one is the biggest surprise for many buyers. The purchase price isn't the only cost that you're going to pay. You're also going to need to budget for property transfer taxes, VAT on new construction properties, notary fees, land registry fees, legal fees, and mortgage-related costs if applicable. As a general rule, many buyers should plan for approximately 10% to 15% above the purchase price to cover some of these closing costs and tax. And that's going to depend on the region that you're in Spain. For resale purposes, costs are often lower, but for new construction properties, costs can be higher because VAT applies instead of transfer tax. The exact amount is going to vary depending on where you're buying and the specifics of the transaction. So it's important to work with a qualified attorney and tax advisor before you commit to anything. One of the worst feelings is finding the perfect property and then realizing that you didn't budget for all the additional expenses. Final thoughts here. Well, buying a home in Spain can be one of the most rewarding investments that you'll ever make. Whether you're dreaming of a beachfront property in the Costa del Sol, maybe a historic property in Madrid, or a villa in Valencia, or a countryside retreat in Andalusia, a little preparation is going to go a long way. So to recap, don't rely solely on property portals. Work with a trusted local agent. Make sure that they know the area well. Get mortgage pre-approval before you start shopping, and budget for taxes and closing costs. Now, if you're planning a move abroad and you want help navigating not just the housing, but the entire relocation process, please visit us at expatlivin.com. Our Expat Livin courses cover everything from visas and residency to healthcare, banking, schools, taxes, and finding the right place to live. And, I've been there before. I've rented, I've purchased, and I've sold property in Spain. So I have had to navigate the process, and I'm a real estate professional, okay? So if you found this video helpful, please be sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below telling me where in Spain that you'd like to buy a home. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy travels, my friends.